Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Marcus from Team Takeover, and today I'm coming at you with a Pan GT deck profile. Now, Pan GT is actually one of my favorite variants of GT, especially since Mecha got hit. I thought Mecha was just overly degenerate because there's basically nothing you do to GT. It's either like win by turn 2 or die. And but Pan GT seems a little bit more fair, as well as there's going to be some more back and forth. And the way you accumulate your advantage with Pan is basically you abuse her draw effects. So on this side, basically, whenever you play a card, and this is on your turn and your opponent's turn, once per turn, she automatically pumps the first battle card you play. And if it reaches 20,000 or more, you draw a card. Now, it doesn't have to be red; it can just be any color. As well. So that's like super good, especially if you play like black cards, as well as being able to play on your opponent's turn is just absolutely menacing. So like if you bring in Double Shot Vegeta or Topo, you get to draw a card. So great synergy with those cards. And then when your life is at 4 or less, you can flip over to energy from rest mode to active mode, and then you can flip this card over and awaken her. And then on this side, she does what she does on the front side, except for she just, now when she attacks, you draw a card. So again, when you're playing a card, once her turn, during the other player's turn, she pumps the first spell card you play, and then you get to draw a card for that. So Pan's super good, and I think she's really good for GT. So without further ado, let's get into it. So, the Big Daddy, the entire point and boss of the deck, Hyper Evolution, Super Saiyan 4 Son Goku. This card's absurd, and you can easily play this by turn 4, especially if you awaken. Quick Rush Trunks just enables way too much shenanigans, as well as the fact that it just opens up the gates for this card to actually be absurd. So, Hyper Evolution SS4 Son Goku. Basically, you play this card by tapping 1 red energy, and then you send 2 cards from your hand to the drop area. When this card attacks, it boosts itself by 5,000, and it checks to see if it's at 60,000. If it's at 60,000, you immediately deal a damage to your opponent, regardless if the attack goes through. So that's like really good. And then, if that wasn't bad enough, the other absurd effect of this card, which makes it really good in my opinion, is that you can discard 2 red cards to stand it, and that is not once per turn. So you can do that as many times as you have red cards to discard. Now, here's the crazy thing about this card. This card works in great tandem with our next one, Broken Limits Super Saiyan Son Goku. So basically, this card EX evolves by placing 1 card from your hand in the drop area and tapping 1 red. And it has an auto effect that every time a card attacks on your side, this card gains 5,000 attack. If it reaches 40,000, it becomes triple strike, but that's not why we use it. We actually use it because when you EX evolve from this card to this card, the attack gain on this card stays with this one. So I'll paint a scenario for you. Basically, you quick rush Trunks. Let's say your life's at 4 or less. That's not the only way to do this at 4 life, but let's just say that your life's at 4 or less. So basically, you have 4 energy. You tap 4 for quick rush, summon in Determined Super Saiyan Son Goku. Because you're at 4 or less, it becomes 5. Then you untap 2 energy and awaken. Now, when you played the quick rush Trunks, I forgot that her auto effect on this side will kick in. You draw a card. And so then when you awaken on this side, you can EX evolve by discarding a card from your hand, which you just got, and tapping 1 of the 2 red energy that you just got back by awakening with her to EX evolve into this. And then you start swinging with everything, including this leader, which will net you another card. So basically, at this point, you have gotten the 2 cards you definitely need to play the Hyper Rush. So every card that you basically built up to this turn is now discard fodder for him. And so then you'll swing with her, you get to draw, but then every swing that you're swinging with on board, he's gaining plus 5,000, which just absolutely gets absurd. And then when you EX evolve, then on top of this guy with this one, he can basically have like 70, 80,000 before his boost, and then he'll automatically deal damage, pump himself up to 85 with his own effect. And then your opponent either has to outcombo that and take that damage, and then when you discard 2 cards to restand again, like, that could be another 2 damage, and then another 2 damage. So, like, he gets menacing fast, and it's all because of Broken Limits. So, yeah. And then next, we play 4 Determined Super Saiyan Son Goku. This card's actually really good, just because, 1, it's critical. So, if you summon this and Pan targets it, it becomes 20k critical. And then when your life is at 4 or less, you increase the energy cost in this in the battle area by 2. So basically he's 3 to play in your hand, but in the battle area he becomes 5, which means that you can EX evolve immediately into Broken Limits. Also, here's something else that's cool. If you play this and then you EX evolve after Pan targets it, this actually automatically becomes 30. Then when the next card attacks, it becomes 35. So that's pretty cool. And then for pint-sized Warrior Son Goku, basically the reason why we play this is because we need to see our GT Gokus in the right amount as quickly as possible, including the secret. Like, the secret is the #1 card to see, just because it will immediately end the game if you have the proper state. So, yeah. Then we play 4 Quick Rush Trunks. This card's absolutely absurd for a number of reasons. One, it's our turn 2 20k critical draw with our leader. Secondly, you can evolve into chain attack on this by tapping 2 red energy, which means you don't even need to be awakened to technically start going into SS4, and that's that's pretty absurd. And then moving on from that, we play 3 Fearless Pan. Now, Fearless Pan is in here for a number of reasons. One, I wanted more than 1 chain attack Trunks target, and if you bring this out and you have like 5 or 6 or 7 different cards on board, it gets absurd. Just because they will all get boosted by plus 5,000 and gain double strike, especially if you have Gokus and Quick Rush Trunks on board. Those become double strike criticals, which is just pretty good, to say the least. And Fearless Pan's also a Grand Tour spaceship target, so if we aren't going to finish the game with the GT Goku, perhaps we can Grand Tour spaceship out, possibly another Fearless Pan if we hard play a Fearless Pan and Awaken. So that could be pretty good. And then 25k double strike critical seems pretty good to me, so I'd take that. And then we play 4 Handigiru. Now, the only reason why we actually play Handigiru is if there is a possible whiff on our Grand Tour spaceship and it's the only card we can play, at least we can play it. Instead of just wasting our energy for nothing, and then you can just super combo with it from the board. So that's pretty cool. But Handigiru is super good. And then we play 4 Chain Attack Trunks. The reason why we play Chain Attack Trunks is 1, to get into our Determined Super Saiyan Son Goku that becomes 5 when you have 4 less life. The second reason is because it can bring out Fearless Pan and you can evolve on Quick Rush Trunks. And another side note to this card that a lot of people do not know is that Chain Attack Trunks can also attack active cards. So he, like Jiren, can attack active cards, but he only gets 1 attack. So, yeah. And then we play the obligatory cards, basically, that just very much support Pan. Double Shot Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta. This is your red combo card that comes in when you swing, or you're swung at and you combo with it. So that's pretty good because on our opponent's turn it allows us to draw. And then we play 4 Pride and Justice Topo. For the same reason that Double Shot Vegeta is good, this card's also good because it can negate an attack from our opponent and play itself. And if our opponent is awakened, we reduce the card by 2. If our leader is awakened, we reduce it by 2. And if we also play Unending Awakening, which bumps our leader up unawakened to 15,000, we can also play this card for 2. And Topo also puts a lot of extra pressure. So, like, let's say that, like, Broken Limits is on board and they have like 3 little guys you can instantly kill, and they'd have to waste like 20k combo fodder to get over it, like 5ks or something. I don't know what they'd be swinging with 5ks for, but if they did, and Pride and Justice Topo can kill them and they would have to waste a lot to save the card, it's worth it. And every attack that you'll also get just bumps Broken Limits, which is also really good. Next we play 4 Bodyguard Logic. This card is absolutely incredible because basically if our opponent goes first and plays a battle card, we can play this card directly from our hand for no energy cost, and because it's 15k, it automatically meets Pan's requirements on its unawakened side, so we get to draw an extra card so it replaces itself. And if you draw like other Logics afterwards, it's immediately energy fodder, which you don't mind because basically it's a 15k blocker and another body on board is kind of protection, but we're not going to play it really. There's other cards we would rather play, so you really don't mind charging it for energy. And to top that off, Logic just becomes an extra attack later if you don't need to block with it. So yeah, Bodyguard Logic, super good. And then we play 4 Saiyan Kaba. We do need some self-awakening just in case like the opportunity affords itself. But if not, Kaba is also good for a lot of pressure. So basically, the name of the game is this deck can either be to kill them outright with like Fearless Pan shenanigans, or to kill them with SS4. And either way, Kaba helps put them down low enough that either SS4 gets lethal pretty quickly, or Fearless Pan gets lethal. Next, we play 2 Unending Awakening. This has serious synergy with the deck for multiple reasons. The first one is that it's a Senzu Bean, which helps kind of protect Pan. She doesn't have a lot of protection, so basically if we're playing against another aggro deck, it's really good. The fact that it also boosts us by 5,000, and it's a Senzu Bean on top of a negate, is also really good, because that means Topo can become live, and then if we play Topo, we get to draw a card. So basically we went even there. So our Topo is played, and then we draw a card which replaces the Unending Awakening, which is really good. And then other than that, like I said before, Pan just kind of needs help defending herself properly. I know we have blockers and Fearless Pan and stuff, but like we don't want to get rid of our cards also, because they're also very key and pivotal to our win condition strategies. And then lastly, we play 4 Grand Tour Spaceship. There's not a lot to say. It's GT, and this hits like every GT card in the deck, besides like our big boss monsters that we play. Boss monsters, battle cards that we play. Sorry, Yu-Gi-Oh! But basically, Grand Tour Spaceship hits a lot of cards in the deck. So if we don't have a viable turn to play, Grand Tour Spaceship will give us one. So that's pretty good. And so that pretty much sums it up for Pan GT. I really like this deck a lot. It's a lot of fun to play just because it can be competitively lethal, as well as it can be also just a deck that's fun to see, like the SS4 drop. Like, killing people with SS4 is actually very rewarding, believe it or not. Whether you burn them or swing at them for 95,000 on top of the burn damage, and they just can't come over it. There are a lot of weaknesses to the deck, like for example, Shugesh hurts a lot. It just hurts. So, especially if you invest in the SS4 and it just dies. Hopefully you'll get to burn them for damage first, but that is what it is. And I think there are a lot of other variants, especially of Pan and SS3, that are better than this, but this is definitely just a super fun deck. So let me know what you guys think about this deck profile down below. Let me know any changes and additions you would make to the deck. And this is Marcus from Team Takeover, signing off.